We showed you pretty hilarious footage from a new Tony Fauci documentary last night. It showed that Fauci knew less about science than some random people in the poorest neighborhood in D.C. It was truly funny.
It's funny because it's true.
So today we watched more of it, and we were not disappointed. You really should see this. The film crew caught Tony Fauci crying during Joe Biden's inauguration.
You got me. Today is a combination of so many different things. It's kind of a diffusion of an incredible amount of pent-up tension and holding back of despair. What? Whoa, what are you talking about, man?
Oh, he had a vaccine reaction. He must be a conspiracy theorist. We gotta kick that man off Twitter. He's claiming he had an adverse reaction to a vaccine.
I want this man. I know everybody's focused on the Donald Trump perp walk, Tucker. I want Fauci in handcuffs.
That's crazy!
More than I've ever wanted anyone in handcuffs in my life. I never would have believed, Tucker, that after O.J. Simpson got away with double murder, some 80-year-old NIH bureaucrat would have risen to the level that Dr. Fauci has.
No. It's funny because it's true.
But Tucker, you mentioned the guy.
Hello.
In D.C. on the porch who questioned Fauci directly. For 2 minutes, that guy on the porch questioned Fauci more aggressively on COVID than left-wing media did for 3 years. One guy on the porch. And what I love about this documentary, too, is Fauci thought that he was going to be the hero here. Instead, all it's providing now is a tangible record of all his lies, everything that he has been wrong about. Seriously, immortalized forever, including some things like masking that he claims he never even said in the first place. I love it. I'm going to watch. I want him in handcuffs.
I think he's already in a sad, lonely hell. But after, so he treats that guy like a zoo animal. No, he can, says Fauci. And then he was back in the car, puts on hand sanitizer. Because he was in that man's proximity. He's just dirty.
You got me.
And how about DC's mayor is there with Fauci, and she says, I wouldn't even be standing this close to you if I hadn't gotten my shot. And then I think she tested positive for COVID shortly thereafter, of course, because I guess it's going to be the 7th or 8th shot that solves it all. But Fauci is a fraud. Rand Paul's right. This guy belongs in handcuffs. Can we get a perp walk on this dude sooner rather than later?
I'm not sure I want to see any more documentaries like this. I don't really want to know what these people are like. It's always confirming of every suspicion. So there are people, not just a few people, but quite a number of people who are sitting in solitary confinement tonight in the D.C. jail charged with trespassing. And yet Tony Fauci, he's not only free and unindicted, uninvestigated, but he's running around basking in the love on cable TV shows.
What the hell?
What's the difference? Well, possibly Tony Fauci knows how to use the media. And if you watched MSNBC last night, you saw the surreal interview he did with Jeb Bush's former flag. Really, it's hard to believe that actually happened.
That's crazy!
Over at CNN, one anchor at least tried to make his interview with Tony Fauci look legitimate. He asked Fauci why some of his emails were heavily redacted. And Fauci just laughed in his face.
Boy.
It wasn't much of an interview, to put it mildly. But that's now Tony Fauci's official response. He's not going to say anything. Over on MSNBC, he was, to be fair, pressed harder by someone who's actually smart. Ran thanks so much for coming up. You hate to keep grousing about the media because it does get repetitive, but this is something that actually matters because if we don't know where the virus came from, we can't prevent another pandemic. And we can probably save lives if we figured this out.
Really?
At what point are we going to get to the bottom of this? Will the media decide, enough of this nonsense, Tony Fauci? Answer the freaking question.
Well, I don't know if they ever will. I think Anthony Fauci's been very clever at shaping the media, particularly on this pandemic story. I mean, he knew from day one that there were reputable scientists who believed that this was a man-made virus. He also knew that he had been funding gain of function, this Frankenstein research to juice up bat coronaviruses in the Wuhan lab, specifically to get around the Obama administration ban.
Okay.
Anthony Fauci was probably the world's greatest fan, greatest supporter of this dangerous gain of function research, and there were hundreds of American scientists who thought it was too dangerous to persist with. They convinced the Obama administration to lift the ban. Then Tony Fauci took advantage of the new Trump administration in their early days of 2017.
What?
To go and tell them that there was nothing dangerous, they'd done a review, and to lift that moratorium. And he is, if this is a lab leak, that's why he has a vested interest. The last thing he wants is for anybody in the media to come close to saying, if this is a lab leak, are you responsible for the research that resulted in that lab leak?
Boy.
He doesn't want that. The other person who's very conflicted is the man whose sub-agency, whose non-profit in New York at the NIH through Anthony Fauci was funding. That's Peter Daszak from EcoHealth Alliance. And like Anthony Fauci, he's very powerful in terms of shaping the narrative. You just talked about the Lancet article that he engineered, and also he was the only American person on the World Health Organization investigation whitewash into what happened in the lab.
Okay.
Yeah. I hope that you keep pushing, and I know that you have been, Miranda Devine, you and a few others, to get to the bottom of this, because it has profound consequences, not just for understanding our past, but for the future. But
So wait a minute.
this is Frankenstein stuff, and it should stop immediately. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Tucker.
I gotta tell you, it was perfect.
Fucking shame how we allow these people to straight up fuck us and use us as human guinea pigs and shit. Don't make no fucking sense.
Another thing. I think we should let me run the country, you run CNN, and if you did it well, you're ready. Let me ask you, just two or three that I like in this room. You two, you should leave. That's enough. That's enough. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working. Well, I'm not a big fan of yours either, so I understand, to be honest.
What's up, guys? It's Boys Benny. So some shoes are of war, the number one rule, if you are fighting an enemy, is you must know thy enemy. You have to know as much information about them as you possibly can. Donald Trump had an enemy when he got to Washington, D.C. It is the deep state. The deep state hates Donald Trump. The deep state is effectively defined as the ghost in the machine. The nameless, faceless, cogs, bureaucrats, an army of them who control the levers of power in Washington. Presidents come, parties come and go, people come and go, they get elected, they get removed, they get put back in. The deep state stays forever. And that is a cancer, a true cancer on everything that we do in this nation. Did Donald Trump know how to defeat them? I would argue no. I would argue that Donald Trump was naive when he got into office and did not know the banality of their evil. Somebody tried to warn him. It's not often that Democrats try and help Donald Trump, but indeed it